Hi everyone, welcome back to Wonder Freely. Our goal for this video is to set you up with an RVer budget in your hand that is realistic for you. So, in order for us to do that, I need you to do a couple things first. You are, in 1 minute, you're going to pause this video. You're going to hop over to our blog. I'm going to put the website link right up here. Hop over there and print out 2 budget worksheets that we have created for you. They're free. Just go over and print them out. Grab yourself a pencil and a calculator and then come back to this video. So hit pause now. Welcome back and let's get started. So the first sheet that we're going to work on, we want to establish your budget now prior to RVing. So you want to take out the sheet within the title that says before RVing. And let's work through that budget really quickly. So our first step is to fill in your total income. What we want here is your take-home income. Unfortunately, I cannot get you out of taxes. So that is not what this worksheet does. It is instead figure your income after taxes, and then for the sake of this example, I'm going to say $45,000 is our annual income after taxes, okay? Now I want the monthly income before I write that in. So I'm going to take my $45,000 and divide it by 12, and I'm going to get, what is that, Chris?
$3,750.
Okay, 3,000, see, he's a math genius. I don't even need the calculator. $3,750. So that's my monthly take-home income. That's what you want to fill in here. That's what we're going to work off of. Now that we have that, we're ready to move to step 2, which is to fill in the budget column, which is the column all the way on the right-hand side. And in order to do that, we're going to use the percentages that we give you on the left-hand side of each category and our total monthly take-home income. So let's start with savings. Let's stay on the lower side of that, the lower percentage, just while we get this started. We can always come back and add more. So let's do the 10%. So 10% of 3,750, we're just going to move the decimal there, is 375. So I'm going to fill that in here. I'm going to put it at the top. It needs to be, this is for this entire category. So how you allocate this is going to be up to you, but let's just get these numbers first, and then like I said, we can play around with it. So that's savings, done. Next, let's move on to housing. Again, I'm going to stay at the lower end for this one. I'm going to say 25%, and 25% of 3,750 is $938. So go ahead and use your calculator, figure it out for yourself, and again, that's my total for this area. So I'm going to write it at the top, and knowing that that number needs to incorporate all of these areas, okay? Now let's jump down to utilities. Here, since we went shorter on the other ones, let's bump up our utilities to the 15%. And the 15% of my 3,750 is 563. So I'm going to fill that in here, okay? And now let's go down to food. That's going to be whatever, you know, that's really depends on the person, but I'm going to say 10% for this and say 375, which I think is pretty reasonable. Don't you think that's pretty reasonable for food?
Yeah,
Some of you are going to say I come in way beyond, you know, lower than that, and some people are going to say, well, I'm above that. It all depends on your priorities. So next up is transportation, and for this, let's do the 15. We're going to stay on the low end, and that gives us 563 for the month. Down to health. This is a tough one, again, because it depends on who, your own health, obviously. I'm going to do the 15%, the upper part, and get 563 again. And then other expenses, that leaves me, if I went through and added up all of the percentages that I used 10 here, I used 25 here, 15 here. What did I use for food? 10. And transportation, I used 15. Health, I used 15. So if I add up those percentages and then subtract them from 100, I'm left with 10% left. So my other expenses is going to be 10%, which falls a little short here of what we had thought. So we'll keep that in mind. And for that, I have 375. So that's how easy it is just to get started. But now you can go back and look at these numbers and say, okay, out of those numbers, now I can fill in some of the extra blanks here. And you also may be able to, at this point, move to step 3, and that is at the end of the month, you want to fill in the actual spent. Okay, so some of these, because this is your current living situation, you might already know some of your actual spent, like your rent or mortgage, that stays the same every single month, so you're going to know what you're paying for that. But some of these other ones, you may not be as sure of, where is your money actually going. So if you have to, just wait till the end of the month and then take the time. This is where a little bit of time on your own comes in, and you're going to fill in this entire budget. Okay, and then see how your actual spent aligns with what should be your budget totals, and what do you have to adjust here. Which percentages do you need to adjust? For example, maybe your transportation is a lot lower, but your healthcare expenses are a lot higher. So see how you make out here and adjust accordingly. This is the best way to actually get a hold of where your money is going and get an idea of what you're working with, what your expenses are like, so that then we can take this information and compare it to RVing. Okay, so any questions that you have through any of this, feel free to leave them in the comments below or leave them on the blog. But that's your first steps here. Once you actually fill out your total actual expenses, then you can do step 4, which is figure out your total actual expenses number. Okay, and the key to this worksheet is, once you have your total expenses here and you have your total income here, the two of these should equal 0. They should have a 0 balance, meaning you should be able to take your total monthly income minus your total monthly expenses, and the answer is 0. If you have money left over, great. You can boost your savings and your giving, your donations, those types of things, or your emergency fund. Okay, all of those, whatever, you can put that towards your savings. If you're coming up under and you're actually short, then you need to look through your expenses and say, where can I cut some money to be able to live within my means and make sure that I'm within my income. So your goal for this whole worksheet is to end up with a 0 balance from your monthly income minus your monthly expenses. Once you have that completely done, okay, then our next step is to take a look at how we can create a budget for you for being on the road. And so take out your other sheet. It says on the road in the title. And what we've done here to help you out is we've done a couple of things. We have changed the percentages on the left-hand side to fit RVing better than your normal, what your standard living would be like in a normal home. So we've changed those percentages to reflect that, and then also we've given you our actual numbers from our first year on the road. So these numbers where you see the column that says Chris and Jen's, those are our actual numbers from a full year of RV living. We then we took our full year totals and then averaged it out for each month so that we could get a monthly balance for those numbers. And so these are totally accurate for us, for our first year on the road. So again, facing this worksheet, we're going to do the same steps. We're going to start with our total income, which should be the same from the other worksheet. Okay, so here mine was the 3,750. Okay, now we have our savings. I'm going to leave that blank for now because I think you're going to see that this number is going to be able to be a lot higher on the road. Potentially, okay, it depends. But let's jump down to housing. Housing, we're gonna take that number down. It was 25%. We're gonna take that down, but I still want to be a little conservative here. So I'm gonna say 20. We're gonna use 20% here, and that number is 750 for us. Okay, and don't worry, you're gonna see how these come out again. All right, now utilities. That number is gonna go way down because, for the most part, if you're using campgrounds and full hookups, all your utilities are already included in your housing cost. So that's why this number, utilities, has come way down. Plus, obviously, you're using a much, much smaller space, so you're not going to need as much. So I'm going to just do 1% here, and that's going to give me $3,750 a month. Now, next up is our food. Our food budget is going to stay the exact same because whether you're on the road or not, it's probably pretty much the same. So let's make that 10% and we'll make it $375. Transportation, that budget's going to go up because you're probably going to spend more time traveling. That's kind of the point, right? So we'll do 30% there, and that number is going to give me $1125. Health, again, is going to stay the exact same whether you're on the road or not. So there. And then other expenses, let's just start with 10% for now again and make it $375. Okay, so now that I came down through the categories, I want to go back and figure out my percentage of savings that I would have left. So if I add 20 plus 1 plus 10 plus 30 plus 15 plus 10, subtract that from 100%, that leaves me with 14%. And I did these calculations earlier and just wrote them down just to make the video go faster for you, but feel free to pause as you're doing this. So that's 14% savings, which puts me at $525 a month. Okay, so you can see what I have budgeted here. Now I'm going to take a look and say, because we haven't done this yet, we're not going to be able to do our actual spent. You're not, if you haven't RV'd full time yet, you're not going to be able to fill in the actual spent line yet. But let's take a look at this budget. And now let's adjust it according to Chris and I's numbers, okay? So let's start with the housing. Now our housing, we were over $750. So I put some notes here just to give you some information to see why our budget was what it was, why we ended up with those numbers. So for example, our spots here were full hookups. So that's why we paid a little extra for them. This does not include, if you're planning on doing a lot of boondocking or partial hookup camping, those are all ways that you can save money. Also, we moved a lot. Our average campground stay was like 3 or 4 days. And so if you're able to stay and take advantage of monthly rates, or longer stays, even weekly rates, a lot of places have weekly rates, then your monthly average will be a lot lower. So keep that in mind, because adjusting your lifestyle, you know, there are a lot of variables here that are going to change your numbers, but we wanted to show you what it's like if you want to do full hookup, not able to take advantage of any of the savings rates as you're going. This is kind of what your number is going to look like. Going down, real estate taxes, you're going to have none. Repairs and association fees, this was our repair just for our fifth wheel. And ours is a 2006. So I think we budget a little bit higher for repairs than probably maybe a new RV, a person with a new RV would do. But even if you have a new RV, you still need to be budgeting for repairs, because you never know when you're going to get a flat tire or those types of things that happen in a new one just as frequently as they can happen in an old one. Trust us. So that was what we came out with. And then our owner and renter insurance, ours was $9 a month. That was solely our insurance to cover all of the things that are inside our RV. So that's just like, the main thing here is Chris's computer, because he has a really expensive computer. So that was our main, that's the main thing that we have insurance for on items within the RV. So that's what we're looking at there. So again, now you can go back and see, according to your number, and our lifestyle, if you want a similar lifestyle to us, then you might have to bump this up. If you don't, and you know you're going to be able to take advantage of savings, then you're fine. Utilities, again, like I said, you're going to have no electric if you're doing full hookups. If you do our style, which is pretty much all full hookups, we had, I think, maybe 6 nights that we did free in the whole year. And then you have gas and oil. We don't use it all in the RV, but we do use propane. We figured $9 a month is what we averaged. And ours is more for heating, or more for cooking than anything else, just an FYI. If you're planning on heating your RV with propane, your number is going to be a lot higher there. Water and sewer, none. Trash, none. Phone, we pay $160 and we get 20 gigabytes of data with that. That is it. We do not purchase anything else for internet at all. We don't have, I don't know, different people have different things that they're buying to give them more data. We don't have any of that. So that is our expense. Internet we pay nothing for. And cable you pay nothing for, and most full hookup campgrounds will have cable for you and some form of internet. Now, like we said, the food, that's going to stay the same as your previous budget. Transportation, this is where you're going to see more money than in your current budget. Car payment, we have none because we bought ours outright, but make sure you figure it out. And same with your RV. If you have an RV payment, make sure that comes into your housing. But that's why we think it's so important to make sure that you have no payments when you hit the road, because then you have much, much more control over your budget. Gas. This is how many miles that we covered in a month, 2,053, and that is the cost that we average, $416 a month in gas. repairs for just the truck, not the RV, just the truck, $234 a month was our average. We have a 2006 truck. License and registration. Our registration is a lot higher now that we have the diesel truck than we did with our cars. So it averaged $14 a month, and then I just put $1 on there a month because your license, you're really not you're renewing that every 4 years, and I think in Pennsylvania it's around $30. I'm not exactly sure of the number, but okay. So insurance. Our insurance for our truck and the RV, that includes both. The only thing it doesn't include is our insurance. There's a portion of it that went to just the inside items that we own. That was the $9 a month. Here's for the truck and RV is $67 a month. So that's what we have with our truck and fifth wheel. Now, medical stays the same, and then you can come down for other expenses, and you can fill these out. Keep in mind, vacation, you don't have to worry about a vacation anymore because you're on vacation.
That's right.
Yeah, you don't have to save for it. You're already there. So, again, that gives you a good look. Okay, so fill in the rest of the budget column based off of Chris and Jen's actual numbers provided and the percentages we give you for each category. Some of these will be some informed guesses. So that gives you a look at our numbers so that then you're better able to judge, and judging off of like how much ground we covered. A lot of you probably, especially if you're in particular, a lifestyle that would be different than ours would be people that are looking to retire. You have a set income every month, and you have for sure, you're probably not going to be moving quite as much as we are because you don't need to. You're not on a time crush. You know, we were trying to see as much as possible, but you're not going to have that kind of time crush. So these numbers will definitely be able to go down for you. However, if you really want to live it up and live at the resorts and, you know, have the great RV and all of those things, then you want a big bus with, you know, there are $1 million buses out there. So keep in mind that's going to be in your housing cost as well. So once you do that, you, like I said, you're not going to be able to fill in the actual spent until you actually get on the road. But I think just by looking at our numbers, taking into account these percentages that we've devised for you and your total income, you still can get a really good feel for how you make out with your total income minus your total expected budgeted expenses, and see where you have to come in. How much money do you have per month that's available for campgrounds? You're going to be able to tell that just from doing this worksheet. So I hope that you take the time and put in a little bit of effort here and are able to follow these. If you have any questions, like I said, please feel free to leave them for us. But we think that by filling out this sheet and then also having your current living expenses and budget together, you'll be able to look at the two and see, okay, am I really able to save? What does this really look like for me? What am I getting myself into? And our true hope is that what this proves to you is, yes, getting on the road full-time is absolutely, or even part-time, is absolutely doable and within your budget. So thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.